this. Good afternoon, everyone. Perfect. I know we're all excited. I'm super excited to hear from you all. Calling this meeting to order, we will start with the land acknowledgement, and then we will pass it on to our school that's here. So, Arizona is home to 22 tribal nations. Osborne School District is situated in the homelands of the Akimal O'odham and Piipash people. Osborne School District recognizes the original inhabitants of these lands and recognizes they still reside throughout the city of Phoenix. We recognize their wisdom, impact, and generosity toward us. Osborne School District is surrounded by the original Salt River canals that were constructed by the ancestral Sonoran Desert people, the Huhuga. These canals created a livelihood for the people and are still in use today. We acknowledge the modern indigenous people that inhabited this area, as well as their Sonoran Desert ancestors, the Huhuga. All right, thank you.
And our school presentation tonight is from Solano School, so I'm going to turn it over to school leadership, Principal Felipe Carranza and Assistant Principal Brandon Witherspoon.
Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, Dr. Robert. It is a pleasure to be in front of you to share some highlights of the amazing work that's happening at Solano School and also highlight our student leadership. So, Brandon, do you mind cueing our presentation? If you don't mind going to the next slide, please. So I want to just take you in a quick journey that our leadership team has taken the school. And with this, I want to highlight the metaphor of a rocket ship taking off. So you may or may not know that a rocket ship spends about 90% of its fuel as it is leaving the Earth's orbit. So it consumes all that fuel. And once it's out in space in its destination, it's mostly successful because by then it just pivots and moves with the fuel that has left. So I want to use that metaphor because at Solano we have a 3-year plan. Our first year is that idea of stabilizing our school and then lifting off. I am surprised, but I shouldn't be surprised because our amazing staff has done so much work that we're already past our goal in year 1. Now we're looking at year 2, which is growth and acceleration. Just like the rocket, once it lifts and leaves the orbit, it just accelerates and grows. Year 3, our final destination is, so the Solano school community will be an A school plus A plus school of excellence. So we're way on track for that goal. Next slide, please. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to our amazing assistant principal whose efficacy has already started to show not only within our school, but outside of our school community. And as you'll see, part of his leadership with our student council.
Thank you, Mr. Carranza. Madam President, board members, Dr. Robert, Osborne family, thanks for being here tonight. We appreciate it. So there are 2 skills that we've been working with our students on very hard this year. First is student ownership and also student leadership, okay? These skills go hand in hand. Ownership brings the mindset and leadership brings the action. By using both of these, we're helping students take responsibility for their learning, make thoughtful choices, and step confidently into roles they can influence their peers. Our goal is to empower students to understand why learning matters, take pride in their progress, and demonstrate positive leadership skills throughout the school community. With that being said, let's get our amazing students front and center. And here we have our student council president, Lakey.
I'm Lakey Brunston, and I'm the student council president. Thanks to our 21st century grant, Solano students now have access to after-school clubs that extend their learning day with fun, creative, and meaningful experience. Whether they're exploring music, robotics, or art, these clubs give students a chance to grow, connect, and discover new passions. And now we're excited to have some of our students who are in Tiger Beach Drum Club share a song they've been working on. I will pass it over to Miss Linton, who will introduce our performers and tell us a little bit about the clubs.
Good afternoon, everybody. So I'm here to introduce my lovely drummers, upcoming musicians. It's not easy, but they are doing very well. Okay, so the benefits that they get from being in this club, it helps to build their motor skills. It strengthens eye and eye coordination. It also helps with their cognitive development. Build their early sense of pattern and recognizing through rhythms. It also helps with their social and emotional benefits, provide a healthy way of expressing emotions. Drumming can be very calming and energizing. Also, looking at the cultural side of it, because, I'm from Jamaica, and, drumming is way back from Africa. So introducing, drumming in our education, it exposes them to the global music. So different rhythm, different beats, different culture. So I'm excited. I am a two-time gold medalist for drumming. So yes, drumming is I love music, but the drum is one of my favorite instruments. So we are going to perform for you, and I just wanted to show them some love, okay? Thank you. Tigers, are you ready? One, two, three, drum roll!
Great job, Tigers. Give them one more big hand, please. That was wonderful. Up next, we're going to bring up one of our another student council member, Caitlin. Come up here, please. Next slide, please, B.
Solano Student Council gives students a chance to lead, represent their classmates, and make a difference on campus. They help plan activities, support school spirit, and work together to strengthen our school community. So, Solano Student Council is now leading our morning announcements, starting each day with positive messages and student voice. Our leadership sets a welcoming tone for our school community and inspires all Tigers to begin the day with purpose and pride.
So we at Solano School, we voted for 5 different values that our staff exhibit every day. Okay, so we're gonna have each one of these students come up and introduce the staff member with the award that they won. First up, with the Equity Award is Brody. Come on up, please.
My name is Brody Braswell, and I will be presenting the Equity Award. Equity means that we model the justice and opportunity we expect in our community. This year's Equity Award goes to Damie Flores, who consistently ensures every student feels supported and valued. Ms. Flores meets with students individually and in groups to support their emotional well-being. She is also the attendance committee lead and does home visits to students, providing resources and checking in. She reaches out to staff and continues to support our school community. Congratulations, Ms. Flores.
Yes, you may be seated. It's okay. Up next, presenting our Joy Award is our 6th grade student, Marketa. Come on up here, please.
Hello, everybody. My name is Makeda. I'm a 6th grader, and I'm also a class representative. Joy Award. Joy means we seek hope, beauty, and fun in every day. The Joy Award goes to Ms. Vias, whose warmth and positive spirit brightens our halls and lifts everyone around her. A message from the person who nominated her said, Ms. Vias brings joy to her classroom every day with her positive energy and genuine for learning. Her laughter and warmth creates an uplifting environment where students and staff feels excited, supported, and happy to be at school with her. Congratulations, Ms. Vias.
She teared up. Wow. We love it. We love to see it. Next up, presenting our Growth Award, 6th grader Emily. Come on up, please.
Hi, my name is Emily. I'm in 6th grade and I'm a class representative. Growth means we try new things, staying flexible and curious so we can be better tomorrow than we are today. We are proud to present the Growth Award to Soki Chim, who is always learning, improving, and inspiring others to do the same. One one person wrote Soki moved to 6 down to kinder and is growing her foundational skills and finding success with her engaging and thoughtful lessons. Congratulations, Miss Chim.
Thank you, Emily. Next up, presenting our Integrity Award is going to be Evelyn. Come on, please. She's a 5th grader.
Hi, my name is Evelyn, and I'm going to read the Integrity Award. Integrity means we do the right thing even when it's hard. The Integrity Award goes to Miss Sandoval, whose dedication and commitment has set a strong example for our school community. Miss Sandoval was asked to teach a kinder and 1st grade combo class. Teaching one grade level is hard enough, but she is doing the right thing for our students and our school. Thank you and congratulations, Miss Sandoval.
Thank you so much. And of course, last but not least, presenting our award for relationships is going to be Genesis. Please come on up, Genesis.
Hi, my name is Genesis. I'm a 6th grader and I'm a representative. And today I'll be awarding Relationship Award. Relationship means we move forward together through caring and collaboration. We are happy to honor Amanda Merrill. We are with the Relationship Award for building strong connections and bringing people together through teamwork and kindness. One person nominated her wrote, Amanda builds a strong and authentic connection with colleges, colleagues, and students. She takes time to listen, show empathy, and create space we people feel seen and supported. Her empathy, ability to foster meaningful relationships together can strengthen in our school. We are blessed to have her with us this year. Congratulations, Miss Merrill.
Give them warm a big hand, please. The students, the staff, they are amazing people. I believe I'd be remiss to say that all of our staff are great. We're doing phenomenal things this year. Our 3-year plan right now is in progress. Year 1, year 2, year 3. So we're headed that way. Last but not least, we're going to take you through a way that we disengage stress each morning. I'm pretty sure this was stressful for some of us, like myself. So it'd be great to just breathe. And who is this Juan? Are you doing the breaths? Come on up, Juan.
All right, Tigers, let's take our 3 breaths of the day. Let's take our deep breath for yourself. Take a deep breath for your classmates. Take a deep breath for your school family. Remember that you are smart, you are kind, and you could do hard things. Have an amazing learning day.
Thank you so much for providing this opportunity to our Solano community. We're very thankful for your continued support. And that concludes our presentation.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Absolutely love to see all of our student council students here in the presentations, and congrats to the five awardees this month. We're going to go on a quick break.
Uh, I think we finish up with, because we wanted our community to be part of our,
Oh, that's
our
right.
new part of our meeting. So two things that we'll do before we let you go. We have an opportunity to share some celebrations, and then we're going to have governing board members share reports. So do you mind if I go first with a few celebrations I just want to share with the community? First of all, since the last time we were together, some big things have happened. Congratulations to Montecito on the planting of their microforest last week. It was an amazing day. Check out our social media. You'll see lots of things that were happening over at Montecito. The month of November is very important for us in schools, as we are taking this month for Native American recognition and appreciation. Some stats that I want to share with you. More than 12%, about 12.5% of Osborne students are Native students. We have 286 Native students in Osborne School District. At Encanto, there are 45 Native students representing 12 tribes. At Clarendon, there are 41 students representing 12 tribes. At Longview, there are 102 Native students representing 14 tribes. At Osborne Middle School, 49 Native students representing 10 tribes. At Montecito, 7 Native students representing 6 tribes. And at Solano, 42 Native students representing 4 tribes. I didn't pull that information out of nowhere. Last month, Mr. Alexander was here and shared about child nutrition, and we said, hey, make sure you follow them on social media through the Nutrilicious Osborne. That's their handle on Instagram. Our Native American Education Program has its own Instagram page. You can follow them at OSD, that's for Osborne School District, OSD NAEP. That's their handle on Instagram. Throughout the year, they put so much information. During this month, they're putting information about history links and stories to share on a daily basis. These history links are not just members from different tribes in Arizona, but from around the nation, and including local leaders like Mr. Lauren Emerson from, who we recognized at the end of last year as a Make the Difference Award winner right here in Osborne. You can learn so much about, through this month of November, about Native American history, but also what we do within Osborne to recognize and celebrate our Native students, and all of us get the opportunity to learn from and with one another. And I guess the last thing that I wanted to share as a celebration is an opportunity for you to come and join us tomorrow night at Osborne Middle School at 5:30, from 5:30 to 7. It's a community vision night. It's an opportunity for you to share your voice, your ideas, and your vision for the future of Osborne School District. So we hope to see many of you there tomorrow night. And I guess the last thing that I want to say too, on Thursday at Longview is the monthly Native American Education Program Parents Meeting. They will be electing their new officers for the upcoming year, so please come and join us over at Longview. I'm not sure of the time on that, but check our website and check our social media. Does anyone know that offhand? What time the meeting is on Thursday? Thank you so much. Where'd you get that information? All right. I love hearing about how we communicate. Thank you. Thank you. And that's it for my celebrations for this month.
Great. I was so excited about bringing these governing board reports, and I totally forgot about them today, but we'll get started. So we'll start at the end just like we used to do the reflections. So board member Blink, anything to report?
Sure, thank you so much. So this is my second ever board meeting. I just joined the board last month. So I have a lot to report this time because my goal over this past month was just to understand as much as I can about our school communities and get to know as many folks as I can as quickly as possible. So want to say a big thanks to Dr. Robert. I was able to make it to OMS, to Montecito, and Solano, spend about an hour in each school. And thanks to the principals who spent so much time with me as well. Need to get to before our next meeting over to Encanto, Clarendon, and Longview, but looking forward to that. did a finance and operations deep dive with Colleen McCabe. Thank you, Colleen, for your time there. Still a lot to learn. It's pretty complex, but eager to understand how our school operates and funded more thoroughly there. And then have done a deep dive into our student achievement data. And I'm very excited to spend about an hour or so tomorrow with Abby Potter Davis to really dive into to that as well, and really understand where we stand and how we can continue to be the best school district that we can possibly be. So thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Board Member Thompson.
Thank you. I want to say I'm really pleased with the marquees that are popping up now. I think that's some bond dollars at work there. I think that's a good upgrade over what we had in the past, so I think they look great on that. I was able to get out to the Teacher of the Year event that the Osborne Education Foundation did, and that was a great success, and really proud of the work that they do and how they support the district. And the last thing, it was a few weeks ago, but the trunk or treat at Encanto Clarendon, pretty fun. Everybody had a good time at that. So great opportunity for people to get out there. And I guess the movie night at Encanto last week too was another opportunity to get as much time as we can to get the family and the parents and the families out to the schools. I think it's great. So good time was had by all.
Thank you so much. Board Member Hermes.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited about this opportunity here, but great to see everybody from Solano. And one of my items, yeah, right on. Yeah, go Solano. Yeah, Tiger Pride. And one of the things I love Solano so much, and my report is Solano focused. And on November 1st, when SNAP benefits ran out for a lot of our families in our community, Solano stepped up. And it was really great to work with some folks, some groups in our community, Arizona Center for Empowerment, as well as Lucha. And they reached out and said, let's do something together in the Osborne School District. Reached out to Dr. Robert and to Felipe, and they said, let's do it Solano, and we really want to support our families. So on November 1st, we had a food distribution event where we served over 100 families, which was about over 400, over 500 people being served in our community, just bringing people together, making sure people can eat and have food to eat. And that was a wonderful event, bringing folks together. And we're working with those organizations some more to, I think next year, early next year, to launch some English classes and some other wonderful things. I just love seeing Solano and all of our schools be places in the community where the community gathers to get support. And I love to see it. And we need to continue to do that and support each other now more than ever. So thank you so much, Solano community.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Clerk Ford.
Thank you, President Ramos. Over this last month, there's so many amazing activities happening here in Osborne. I wanted to shout out the Trunk or Treat event at Clarendon. Clarendon was so nice to invite Encanto School to their Trunk or Treat. I thought that was such a great event. So I wanted to thank Jeff Martin, the principal of Clarendon, the Clarendon PTO, and the Clarendon staff. All of these events that our families are able to go to, there is so much labor and hours and time and effort that go into those. So wanted to give those folks a shout out. I also think it's super great for our matriculation. We want to see our students go all the way up through OMS. So that is a great matriculation event. I know there's going to be an Encanto Winter Concert at Osborne Middle School, so looking forward to that. I also was able to attend the Osborne Gala. This is the biggest fundraiser for the Osborne Educational Foundation. I wanted to give them a big shout out. They raised $101,164, and that money goes to our teachers, to our students. Some of the things that it funds are the Kids Read program, so I actually wanted to bring the book that my third grader got to take home. He picked There Was an Old Lady Who Swallowed Some Leaves, and on the back it says donated by the Osborne Educational Foundation, because that's where we raise our money, and we're able to get books into the hands of our third graders. It also supports mini grants and after school sports. So I wanted to just thank the foundation for all the work you do to support our families. And of course, a special congratulations to our Teachers of the Year, Coach Mark Dayette, Aaron Tikovich, and Jill Singh. Thank you so much. I also had the honor of attending the Sugi tree planting at Montecito. Special thanks to the Sugi Project, the Lifetime Foundation, and the Montecito PTO. That morning, we were able to plant 1,200 plants, 40 different species of indigenous plants for here in Arizona. It's such a cool thing. I can't wait to see it all completed. But I was able to go there in the morning, and it was awesome. We had a ceremony. It was amazing. Desert Botanical Gardens thought it was so cool. They showed up. So thank you to all of you who put in effort on that project. And then my last shout out, I wanted to talk about the SNAP benefits being cut, and I wanted to give some shout outs to the leadership here in Arizona and the leadership across the district. So firstly, I would like to shout out our social workers. As soon as we realized that SNAP benefits were going to be unlawfully suspended by the federal government, our social workers went into action and decided that they were going to start collecting food for our families. And I know that in Encanto, my son and I were able to donate some stuff to our food pantry, and that went out to our families. So thank you so much to our social workers who work so hard to collect food. The front office at Encanto said that people just in the community who don't even have students were bringing in things. So I think that the support and the caring that I've seen over the last month has just warmed my heart so much. We are a community that takes care of one another, so thank you for that. I wanted to give a shout out to the leadership here at Osborne, as well as the leadership in the Phoenix Union High School District. I got peach jar messages about different community resources. Those go to all of our families. I know Phoenix Union did a similar thing. And then I wanted to also give a shout out to Solano for helping feed, as board member Hermes talked about, those 100 families. And then my very last shout out goes to the Emerson family. The Emerson family is a Longview family that owns a fry bread company. And I know that when SNAP benefits were withheld, they hosted free fry bread for people. They were able to get donations from the community and things out of their own pocket, and they had a come and get fry bread if you're hungry events. And so thank you so much to the Emerson family. You continue to support our community and our school district here in Osborne. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I'll make my report fairly quick since it's similar to my other board members. We actually all assisted the Teacher of the Year Gala, and so that was a really good time. I've been obsessed with bolo ties for a minute now, and so I decided to wear mine to the event, and then the rest of our board, we have such a great relationship that we're like, let's all wear bolo ties to the next board meeting, which, in case you didn't know, it's the official neckwear of the state since 1972. So if you didn't know that, it's a fun fact. And that's why we're all wearing bolo ties today. But also the event at Montecito with the planting of the canopy forest, which is the only one in the state of Arizona, was really, really great to see. So just all of these plants, if you have a chance to go check it out, it is really beautiful. And then on a personal note, always looking for professional development to grow. I want to make sure that I am coming as the best board member that I can be for you all. And so this last month, I graduated from the Flynn Brown Fellowship. And so super excited to have my time back, but also super excited to be part of a network like Board Member Blink is, where we can bring resources to our community. So that is it. I think now we officially...
Yeah, if I could just add in one last thing, since we have the Solano community here, and I'll make this very brief. But in the way that Osborne comes together to support community, we have 3 teachers at Solano that are from Jamaica, and over the past month, the island was devastated by horrible storm events that impacted community, impacted family, their families, their communities, their schools that they went to. And I know that they're working to organize, to gather materials to help schools. I'm not sure of all the things that they're looking to gather, but we're gonna put word out, and we want to support our Solano teachers as they look to support their homeland, their home, their families. So be on the lookout for that.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much for that. We'll do a short recess. Be back here by 6:10. For the line that says Leanne. will be coming back soon. Or not. We'll see. All right. Do we have any call to the public?
No.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. All right, so we'll keep going to our consent agenda. Do we have a motion?
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Thank you so much. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. All right, next item on the agenda. I was laughing that Ed's still not back. All right, we have a board presentation today, transportation. Sam.
Gotta put my eyes on real quick. Good evening, Governing Board President Ramos, Governing Board members, and Superintendent Dr. Robert, and community members. My name is Sam Garcia, and it's my privilege tonight to present, along with Debbie Murillo, the Transportation Supervisor, our Transportation Department. Our staffing and our assignments, we currently have 5 EV buses en route. We have a total of 9, but we have 4 that are just sitting in the bay, 2 diesel buses, and 6 vans. Total of our staffing and transportation is 24, with 9 bus drivers, 6 van drivers, 6 bus aides, 1 router who subs as a bus driver, a bus mechanic, and our transportation supervisor who can also sub as a bus driver. Routing is based on our school zone attendance, our bus capacity, and time and distance from school. We try to keep our students from 35 to 45 minutes on route. It's typically where we're at.
This summer, our transportation router and our trainers and myself, we also built routes for a new app that we have starting, Bus Right. It's going to allow parents with real-time bus locations and notifications for when their child gets on and off the bus. It also lets us know if the child has been placed on the wrong bus accidentally or however it may happen. It's also used by the router and drivers to manage routes and communicate delays launching after winter break, hopefully. Routes are created manually each year by Osborne's transportation team, but this will be the final year of manual route creation. Bus Right will begin making our routes in the 26-27 school year.
Route collaboration. Student services with general education and special education routes are separate for Arizona State compliance, safety, capacity, and average capacity. We like to get with the site administration. All site principals review and provide input on routes as well. In this way, they are aware of routes and changes. Options for our family. Families outside our school attendance boundaries are able to utilize an active bus stop for their child's campus pending bus capacity and prior approval. There are times that there is a conflict where we have a parent who arrives late and we have to bring the student back to the campus, and then we have to readdress like if this is going to be something that we can continue to do for that family.
Is that service available to any families, even maybe a family that doesn't live like near a bus stop or they're, so, okay.
It's inactive, as long as it's an active bus stop, yeah.
Okay.
So even if we have a new student that they move into the campus and we create an active bus route, then that becomes an eligible place for pickup and drop off for students.
Thank you.
Do we have any active bus routes outside of the Osborne School District? Let's say, let's make something up real quick. Like on 20th Avenue, in Osborne Road, we've got a bunch of kids who are, choosing to send their kids to Osborne schools but live just outside the district. Do we currently have bus stops outside the district?
We do.
Okay.
We have some that go to the Hurd School District, the Phoenix Union, the Hurd. There you go. We have one on 23rd Avenue, just north of Thomas, and we also have one on 19th Avenue, west of Earl.
That's great. And then how does that get developed? Are we like looking at where our kids are enrolled right now, and we're kind of creating stops to meet that need, or how does that stop outside the district come about?
We created that stop we see how enrollment happens in the beginning of the school year, and then we decide what
we were hoping with the schools being closed, we would bring in more students into our district.
And part of that too, as we were looking at those, particular stops, one of the things that we were doing was we had parents that were, reaching out and saying, we'd like the opportunity. We could come if there was something over by here, but we're not running. That's a spot where we're asking parents, get your kids here, and we'll bring them in.
Yeah.
But we're not running our buses through another district's, doing pickup at houses or at, complexes and things like that. So it was finding a couple spots that were not going, far outside of our zones, but meeting, when there was first interest that was being gathered by some families saying that they were interested in coming over, we had a survey asking them if they were going to be interested possibly in transportation. And we got together and, along with Colleen, and we looked at, just kind of first, where are those requests coming from? Then we drove out and looked for good spots and thinking about, like he was saying, not making left turns. So where are we making right turns? Where's a good spot that it's not on the main road, but, on side roads? So really kind of scoping it out, but also being cognizant of the fact that we're trying to help and accommodate families without being invasive, into other zones.
I think that's great. I mean, I think it's great to meeting parents, meeting families where they're at. I hear a lot of from families that say, "I wish there was a bus stop. I wish we could, my kids could take the bus to school." So I love that, just responding of where the enrollment is, meeting families where they're at, trying to get more kids taking the bus. So I think that's wonderful.
When school starts, we have the, we follow just the 10-day drop, just like everyone else. So transportation, similar to school sites with enrollment, implements a 10-day drop process after the first 2 weeks of school. If after those 10 days we identify a stop that have no student participation, we move to make that stop inactive until we get a rider. Every kid counts. Student ridership is documented daily with AM and PM counts. Those counts are separate, but when we do our 100-day count, we take that number of our best count and we divide that. So reporting student counts are reported for our 100-day reports, state compliance, Medicaid reporting for funding. Evaluation will monitor student counts weekly. If there's an opportunity to balance out another bus, or remove a bus stop and add it to a different bus. We also consolidate routes when needed and use spare drivers for McKinney-Bento when we can. Again, we review access. We have live updates, website updates on our district webpage, and that way a parent can seek out a bus stop, and then that's where they identify where they would their student would get picked up.
We share our joy by recognizing a team member with the Extra Mile Award. Each month we select one for an Extra Mile Award. The month of October, we had 2 recipients. Charity Thomas, she's our rookie driver, but she had taken on the most difficult route we had, and she has really made a difference with her students on that bus with discipline and behavior. Santoy Prather, she's one who is our special need bus aide. She goes beyond and above to help any of our special needs students, families. Her communication is great. She helps out. September's recipient, we had Annette Martinez, who is also a driver trainer as well as a driver. She has a special need route. Her herself has found that being able to communicate with special needs students is something that she likes to do. She speaks to parents. She goes above and beyond herself just to work with the special needs children. Anything the school needs, the teachers, she's there to help. So they were also recognized as our Extra Mile Award that we do each month.
Questions?
That's our crazy team.
This picture is from
Halloween.
The Halloween parade that came through district. Our team decorated the circus.
The circus theme.
Yeah, they did a really awesome job.
We hand out candy to our students as well.
Thanks so much. Just a couple of kind of really basic questions. So what is our average daily ridership, or how do you measure the students per day?
So last week, our average daily membership was, so we have a morning
Uh-huh.
route and then we have a PM route. Last week, our average daily, from 11-3, our average daily ridership was it 2,141 kids?
2,151.
Oh, I'm sorry, 2,000.
One way
Uh-huh.
a week.
Yeah. For one way, 1 week. That's a morning. That's a pickup. And we take that number and add it. So like the morning counts and then the day counts.
So that's total trips, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so if we were, so daily, it would be, just divide that by 5, and that would tell us how many students.
No, we
That's a weekly count.
That's a weekly count, and that's one way. 2,151 was one way for a gen ed bus.
Okay, so divide that by 5, it's about 430 students coming to school every day on the bus. Okay, and then what is the radius around a school in which a student's eligible for a bus trip?
We try to make it 35 to 40 minutes. So that's whatever that route is. So the routes are pretty historical, and then we kind of like take that route and then traffic, and then we don't want to have the students on the bus too long.
Sorry about that. I didn't say that very well. In terms of when I'm eligible, like if I live within a certain distance of the school, I assume I probably can't get a bus trip. Is that right?
More than a mile?
1
mile. Wow.
K through 8th is 1 mile.
Okay.
That's state law, I think. That's state
State
law,
law.
right?
Yes.
Yes.
ADE.
Can I ask one more quick question, then I'll turn it back over. So are we obligated, with open enrollment, if someone chooses to come to an Osborne district, are we obligated to provide bus service to them? Or how, yeah.
That's where we open up that bus route. We our bus stop, say, hey, if you're outside of our boundaries, we can pick your student up here.
Okay.
But there is zero obligation. So that when you're choosing open enrollment, you are choosing to come here and you're providing transportation. So those students that are coming, if they're coming and we're giving them a ride, they're coming to our farthest out stop. So they're coming to Osborne. We're not going outside of Osborne.
Got it. So
Yeah.
what's the furthest route that we drive right now from a school?
That would probably be one of our OMS routes, which is not that far.
Okay.
Yeah, we pretty much stay within, what, 20th Street? No,
Yeah, like
19th Street.
We do 16th Street to 19th Avenue.
yeah. So it'd be like the farthest would probably be like 16th Street and Thomas to OMS.
I would just
roughly.
add, that the answer is based on like our gen ed routes and our special ed routes that we're
Right.
obligated or required to do. We also have those other McKinney-Vento routes. And so we do have routes that go outside of Osborne to transport kids or pick up kids from other neighboring districts that are eligible under McKinney-Vento that go a lot further. But just like answering now, like we're operating within those Osborne boundaries for gen ed and specialized routes, with the exception of those 2 stops we already talked about that are just outside us for herd, that herd community.
I'm sorry, I'll stop there.
No. What I,
Okay. For the McKinney-Vento routes, is there a separate source of funding for those?
It's an unfunded mandate.
Is an unfunded
So
mandate?
yes, so we're providing continuity of education for students, and it's a split share between our district and the other district. So if we've got a kid that, let's say they started, the school year in one place, they are experiencing homelessness, and let's say they move out to Mesa, right? We want them to have that continuity of services within Osborne. So we will get in touch with that school district out there, and they'll provide one of the routes and we'll provide the other route. But it is not funded.
So I guess from that perspective, what is the furthest that we go get a student today?
For our McKinney-Vento,
Mhm.
right now we are going out, our furthest we're going out to is Cartwright School District.
Sorry. About how many miles away is it?
Maryvale, so that's,
7 miles? Okay. But if like a kid decided to live in Apache Junction or in Mesa, we would still go get that student?
Yep.
I would just add that then those farther distance routes we end up contracting out
Uh-huh.
because we don't have the capacity to then have one of our drivers or van drivers tied up on a route for just one kid all day, because we end up having our drivers do multiple routes as we have our like daisy chain of our school start time. So they run an Encanto route, and then they do a Longview route, and then they do an OMS route, and sped routes go back all day long. And so with midday preschool and all these other things, so the buses are running routes constantly, not just an AM and a PM p.m., depending on the route type. And so a lot of those farther routes, we're contracting that out through a contracted transportation company to run some of those farther distance McKinney-Vento routes.
Got it. And with those 400 and some students that we are transporting each day, is it typically, I know we talked about vans versus full-size buses. How are we doing on the capacity of those vehicles and in terms of
I would just also add that that number was based on AM one-way routes in.
Okay.
The ridership in the afternoon is always greater than your morning because a lot of families prefer to drop off in the morning, but then they can't pick up at school release time.
Got it.
It just doesn't line up as well with work schedules and other things. So our ridership in the afternoon is actually greater than that 400 average per day. So just keeping that in mind. And then what was the second part of your question?
I guess in terms of just the vehicles that we're choosing to use, how do we choose what vehicles to purchase? And are we at capacity, like are we, how's our capacity each day on the vehicles that we're choosing to drive?
Our van routes, Sam purchases our van routes. They are 8-passenger vans, and they are basically just about to capacity. You're using about 7 of the seats.
So what do we, for McKinney-Vento, we transport 96 riders.
96.
Yeah,
Okay.
ourselves. That's not who we contract out. I don't have that number. I just have the number what we transport.
Question about McKinney-Vento. Does that also cover students who, let's say, are in our district and then are placed in foster care? Does McKinney-Vento cover the continuity of schooling for a student that's placed in foster care so they can continue their education here in Osborne, even if maybe the foster family or group home is not in our boundaries?
We can go outside.
Okay.
Yes. And it's usually a group home.
Yeah.
One thing with ridership to keep in mind too is we've increased in our open enrollment, the percentage. So more than a third of the students in Osborne are coming from outside of the district. So if you're thinking about, that 400, 500 number divided by, as a ratio to our total enrollment, you can't think about our total enrollment. We can, I'll put it in a report to you, just how many students we have, just so you can see percentage-wise. But my guess, this is just me taking a wild guess right now, is that we're probably somewhere in between 35 and 40% out of district.
Of the riders, 35 to 40% are out of district.
Of students in the district live outside of our boundaries. So that many students are not eligible for being even considered in ridership.
I had a question on the EV buses, and I'm sorry if it was on the slide and I missed it, but you said we have, we're using 5 of them, but then 4 of them are just sitting in the bays. Can you talk about it? First, I guess, what's our ratio of EV buses to buses in general, and then why are those buses not being used?
Yeah, so we have 9 total electric buses. 5 of them are on routes. 4 of them, 1 is at the shop, and 3 of them we don't have chargers for. And that we're currently under construction to add chargers. So as soon as we get those chargers, we'll be able to start full EV fleet.
Do we have a timeline for that?
I know that Core is a construction company that's working on it, and they're doing their best to get that going, working with the APS. Recently, like a month and a half ago, we just added a new transformer to DO and a new transformer that will supply the power to those bus chargers. So right now, we're just waiting on APS.
Okay.
So 3 of those buses just arrived on September 30th, so they're like brand new. They just got here, and so we were also waiting to get them added to our vehicle insurance with the trust, getting them titled and registration all switched over at ADA and all those things. So part of that, they haven't been sitting there very long. They're basically brand new, but even once we get all the paperwork settled so they can roll out, we're still waiting for charging capacity.
Okay. And then how many total buses do we have? And so what's the ratio of that will be electric when those 9, when the rest of them come online? Just a ballpark number, like how many buses do we have?
We would have, go ahead.
I think, hold on, let me see.
We would have a total of, the 9 electric buses, and then we have 2 of our diesel with 4 spares.
Okay.
Yep, thank you.
So more than half will be electric.
Yeah.
Almost all. Just building on that, with that question, oops, sorry about that.
Plus 4 spares.
Yeah.
Spare buses.
Don't plan on using the spares.
How has our fleet changed over time in terms of the numbers of of buses that we own and operate? Maybe in the last like 5 years, has our fleet grown? Has it gotten a lot smaller?
I've worked for the district for 2 years, 2.5 years. It would be hard for me to answer that question, but I can get the information too.
That'd be great. Yeah.
And I think it's grown. I think it's gotten a lot better, being that we've gotten the EV buses, so it has grown. Our vans have definitely, our white fleet has definitely grown.
Yeah, and I'm starting to phase out our transit Ford vans to microbuses. So 14 passenger instead of 8 passenger.
Got it. Yeah, I guess the natural question, especially given the direction of the district in terms of total population of students, it sounds like if our fleet's growing, the number of students is decreasing. Do we have what's our process for making those decisions about the type of investment of buses and those types of things?
At this point, we have what we have, and we're just trying to keep it on the road. So we always want to have a couple spares available, but right now I want to say we keep anything 20 and 20 and newer, and then we start as they start aging out, we'll start getting rid of those buses, sending them to auction.
And the EV buses came through to us through a grant, right?
That's correct. Before I got here, that grant was written.
And one part of that too, Ben, that we're really looking at through the strategic planning process and getting input from families is, this whole idea of community vision of wanting to be the district that our families are wanting. So we haven't given up on enrollment. Our goal is to build that enrollment back up to what it once was. So we will be smart with facilities in the same way that we will with our fleet, and responsive to, our student population. But, after so many years of decline, we did see that uptick, and that was positive. And then we saw a downtick, and we want to get that uptick back. And also just kind of looking at demographic studies. Those demographic studies don't necessarily say, 10 years out that the decline's, going to be coming. So we don't want to sell off a bus fleet if, demographic studies are saying that this part of the valley is going to be ticking up, in terms of expected population. So keeping an eye on all those factors.
Makes sense. I'd love to find a way to get more of our kids onto buses. And, I've been there and I've certainly witnessed it. The school drop-off frustrations and maybe I would even say chaos sometimes. And, even I know we're talking about a mile, is what we're busing farther than a mile away. The reality in this city is even if you live 3/4 of a mile, people are not walking or biking because the streets are really unsafe. I think about Longview. Even though the community on the north side of Indian School and like 12th Street is pretty close, maybe half a mile, 3/4 of a mile. Those kids are not walking to school. That section of Indian School Road is the most dangerous section of road in the city. That's very dangerous, has a lot of street safety issues. So I think there's more demand for busing and to try to get to school on a bus than what we're currently meeting, at least from what I hear out there. I was talking to some folks who their kids live at the Curve across the way. It's 3/4 of a mile from here. There's no bus. They send their kids to Clarendon, and they're like, I can't cross Indian School Road. I can't cross 7th Avenue. It's extremely dangerous. And so I'd love to figure out a way where we're meeting more parents where they're at and providing more busing options to get more cars off the road. Of course, I would love a scenario in a city that is safe for all kids to walk and bike to school. We're not there yet, I think, but as we continue to work towards that to get more busing options, I know this is a long-term play, but if we're talking long-term vision, that's what I'd love to see us move towards.
Are we prohibited from providing transportation services within a mile?
No.
That's it. Okay.
No, we can, and I'd love to see it. I mean, not prohibited by law. There's cost to it, of course, but I would love to. That's why this is. I'd love to see us doing it. Because the reality is 3/4 of a mile in this city, people aren't walking or biking that for the most part, because there's some major streets that you have to cross that are just completely unsafe.
Mm-hmm. Are we going to see another electric bus at the APS Electric parade? I'm so excited. That was such an
Brandon says yes.
that was such an incredible way for us to show off our electric buses. Transportation, you guys did an amazing job. The bus was I couldn't believe how beautiful the electric bus was decorated. I know that was a lot of time and effort, so thank you to your department for doing that. And I'd love to see it again
It was
this year.
so much better than others.
It was so much better.
So much better.
So much better than every other district. 100%. Thank you.
That goes to Brendan right there.
I know you mentioned the smaller, the 20 passenger, but 14 passenger. Are we in the future gonna like try to like make those also electric fleets, or?
I don't know that those are available yet, but I'm just, like I said, just trying to build capacity within our team, and that's why I'm trying that and see how it adds value.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
I had one further question on that, the micro one. So those, my understanding is they do not require a CDL, right?
Painted white, so no CDL is required.
And so, can you talk about the struggle, if there is any, of keeping and hiring bus drivers? 'Cause I know most districts throughout the valley, that is a challenge. That it's not necessarily the vehicles. Like you might have enough vehicles, but we just don't have enough drivers. So how are we doing on the kind of staffing for the bus drivers?
You know, HR department did an amazing job reaching out and getting candidates for us, but we still have 2 current open bus driver positions.
Okay. And that's pretty standard through every district. So.
And one of the ways that we did try and address that was in opportunities for 12-month work. So during the summer, providing opportunities to be like on our cleaning crews and things like that, so that there was, outside of summer school, especially without great funding and transporting kids all over the district, we were still able to keep some folks 12-month. Without those 12-month opportunities, that can be a harder challenge too.
There's more value to having the 12-month driver just for that reason. If I were to outsource it, we wouldn't get the same care and the same end product from the cleaning that the drivers do, because they do take a lot of pride in the work they do, and they know they stand on that. Anything else?
All right.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. All right. Moving on. Thank you so much for that wonderful presentation and for answering all of our questions. We have the administrative reports. Anybody have any comments?
I had a comment about Solano. I just read, student highlights, our exceptional learners had a wonderful opportunity to extend their learning with hands-on visit to a pumpkin patch. When we did our community listening sessions last year, I know that Solano, I talked to several Solano parents who said, we really would love our kids to go on field trips, and there just hasn't been that opportunity yet. And so amazing to see we have field trips here at Solano. And so Mr. Carranza, if you could keep on with the field trips. I know that your community is really asking for that. Thank you for doing that for our students.
If I could point out one thing in the administrative reports, that's a point of pride from looking at the absence report. If you're, and you guys asked to see it side by side, so we're happy to be able to provide that information. But also, one of our goals this year was decreasing absenteeism, and we set that number at 9%. That's our goal, is every school to try and get below that 9%. And we may not be there with every single school, but if you look at the average from last year was 10.3%, and the average in October of 25 was 8.8%. So number one, a decrease in absenteeism by 1.5%, and the second, meeting that goal of being under 9%, as a district. So there's a huge effort being put on by principals and their school attendance teams, and you got to hear about that at our retreat, in September. So really proud of the efforts that they're putting into that.
I think I missed that retreat because I wasn't on the board yet. But is there any connection between transportation availability and absenteeism? Have we noticed, I was thinking my previous question about the within 1 mile range of school. Like, do we know how far these students are traveling, or do we survey students and parents to understand the reasons for absenteeism?
It's a good question of steps that we could take, but in terms of causation versus correlation, there wasn't a change within transportation and the availability of fleet that led to an increase in absenteeism. So, I wouldn't make it a causation. However, talking with those families and seeing, and that's a big part of this decrease. It's not about the stick, it's about the carrot. So it's when we notice that someone's missing school, it's that team, that absenteeism team doing outreach to families. And the first question isn't, why isn't your kid here at school? It's what can we do to support in helping your child get to school every single day? Because we miss them when they're not here and they can't learn if they're not here.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you, everyone. We will move on to information updates from OEA.
Just want to check with Brendan because there's been a lot of.
I can hear you. Your voice is coming
Okay.
through. Just pull that, just keep it close to you.
All right, will do. Good evening, President Ramos, members of the Governing Board, and Superintendent Dr. Robert. We are happy to provide you with an OEA update since the last Governing Board meeting. During these updates, we will continue to share information related to our monthly general meetings, union activity, collected feedback we have received, as well as any pertinent information or recommendation about board agenda items. Part of the continual ongoing work that OEA does is to support employees through their advocacy needs by providing information, hearing concerns, or supporting through representation during meetings. For this update and future updates, we will continue to provide month-by-month totals that reflect the number of active advocacy cases for each month. So as mentioned in previous updates, July-August total was 9 advocacy cases, September was 6 advocacy cases, and October was 5 advocacy cases. And I just want to highlight that those monthly totals reflect total active cases. So what our total number of advocacy support we've provided is 16 total cases for the 2025-2026 school year. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to Kirsten.
Due to ongoing amazing construction at Montecito, our November meeting was held at the Arizona Education Association State Office. During the session, we reviewed background information on the meet and confer process and provided updates on the policies discussed during last year's district policy committee. We are gathering input from staff on which policies they believe require the most urgent attention. As we move into upcoming general meetings, we will shift from general information building to more work-focused meet and confer deep dives. Our time together will center on closer examination of key policies, such as those related to the salary schedule, workplace safety, protected work hours, district calendar, annual leave blackout dates, and protected paid time off benefits as they are related to the subcaps. This preliminary work will ensure that we are well prepared as we enter the meet and confer. This evening, we do not have any board agenda items to discuss. And with that, we would conclude the OEA update.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
A question. Ms. Gerlach, it kind of sounded like when you were talking about advocacy cases, there were more in the beginning of the year. Is that due to class size, would you say?
I
Class
would
size?
not
Okay.
actually say that they're related to class size. I would, in my experience, advocacy ebbs and flows. So there's not really any rhyme or reason to why you may see more advocacy cases at the start of a school year versus the middle of a school year versus the end. I do think that one of the benefits of the beginning of the school year is that we're kind of recommitting into relationships, into conversations. And with that, OEA is reaching out pretty strongly towards members. And so we're hearing more people reach back, typically at the beginning of the year. But I would say, like, one of the reasons that we've kind of changed the way we've broken down the totals is because we have noticed over the years that it really isn't about totals, it's more about active. So that's why you'll see the numbers don't always make sense, because there might be an advocacy situation that's lasted 1, 2, 3 months, and there might be one that's literally, it's just a console and it's, hey, how do I access this information about my pay stub? And it's like, here you go, and it's over and done and closed.
If I could add something to that without being privy to, the conversations that you're having, at the beginning of the year is when we do that 10-day drop. And so after that 10-day drop, there are some changes that are happening regarding personnel assignments. And there, that can be a, I don't understand this, or why is this happening? Can you help me, navigate, why this change may be happening with me? So I'm not sure if, it involves that, but, when you have changes like that are happening, at the beginning of the year is I think possibly more than class size. That would be my guess. But forgive me if I'm guessing wrong. But
Just unfortunately, due to advocacy-related issues, we don't typically share public-wide the specific reasons for advocacy. That might be more of like a reflective conversation at the end of the year. But as always, like one of the pieces of work that didn't make it into the update is that we're in the process right now of, with our site reps, reaching out to site principals and different administrators and beginning those conversations and really building those connections between their site reps and the administration team and kind of building so that, as always, anything can be resolved at the lowest level possible.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All right. And we are moving on to, we only have one item, and it's only going to be an informational item. So we're going to have a presentation. We will have a public hearing to vote on this item at our next meeting.
Yes, so I'm going to kind of just walk us through the summary page there that's in the packet. It's on page 82 of the packet. Kind of goes over the changes that are being made at this. This is actually revision number 2, our mid-year revision to the maintenance and operations budget. I highlighted there some of the key numbers that are changing, in addition to the enrollment. So if you'll remember when the FY26 expenditure budget last came before the governing board, that was in August, and we did a revision number 1. And that was to transfer what we had adopted onto the official final forms that were approved after the state budget process wrapped up kind of later this last season. So we didn't really adjust for what we knew at that time. I talked a lot about timing then. We didn't really adjust for what we knew was going to be this decline in enrollment in current year student count this year at that revision number 1. So you'll see that revision number 1 column, those student counts still mirrored what we had adopted. So this is the first time that we're kind of capturing in this revision number 2, what we're down in student count this year. But timing-wise, we're also, you'll notice, well then if we're capturing that and it's going down, then why is the total bottom line actually going up from what it was at time of adoption and time of that revision number 1? Well, it's because timing-wise, we've also now completed our AFR. So last year's encumbrance period is over. We know what all of our final expenses of the year are, and we actually have then our approved carry forward amount from ADE based on that AFR for additional budget capacity with that carry forward being added in. So it actually ends up being, okay, yes, we're down in students. And so off to the right-hand, that far right-hand column, you can kind of see how that plays through and is tracked, where we're down in ADM, which are funded students about 108. And then once you apply those weights to those students, it gets compounded, as our student counts always do. And so it's right now it's roughly 170. That number is still fluid. So that number is going to continue to change as we continue to clear out integrity errors. We still have several kids in some of those supplemental programs and weighted areas that are not fully counting and cleared and past integrity yet. So this number is going to continue to be fluid, and it will continue to change because we haven't hit 100th day yet. Right? We will have kids withdraw between now and 100th day, hopefully not too many, but we also have kids enrolling. I was at OMS today and they were working through 4 new enrollment registrations this afternoon, so that's great. So kids are coming and going, and so these numbers are still very fluid. But you can kind of see the impact that has as you track that on the right-hand column. So the decline in student count as of when I pulled the numbers to put this together for this month's packet, I will then have time to pull them again to push to then the official public hearing. So I will make sure that then when we do this in 2 more weeks to take official action, I will pull in even more accurate numbers so that it's real as of whatever current number there is.
because again, it's always changing, but you can see it's just over 875,000 is the impact that those 108 kids had on our revenue to our maintenance and operations budget as that flows through. One of the items then that I've identified there, it's the second item from the bottom, that budget carryover one-time expense. Of our carry forward budget capacity that we had of unspent budget from FY25, I've identified 900,000 as we're spending that, we're committing that to offset that drop in students this year. So instead of tracking it as dollars reserved as fund balance, as that carry forward coming in, we made that decision as a district when we were looking at those 10-day counts, which Dr. Robert just mentioned, to say we're going to continue to honor. We're honoring all of our contracts. We're honoring all of our staff commitments. We're not right-sizing staffing based on losing 100 kids right now in the middle of the school year. And in order to do that, we have to have funds to put towards that. And so that's my way of tracking that, okay, we had this additional budget carry forward coming in from last school year. We've committed 900,000 of that to offset the current year drop. But that's a one-time offset, because then when we go into budget committee season this spring, we have to actually address those staffing right-sizing allocations for those loss of students going into next year's budget. And we're fortunate that we have the carry forward to do that. And then I've also updated those amounts that hadn't been released from the state with actual amounts yet. So the one-time funding that was approved through the legislative session last year for the additional funds for one-time for free and reduced and DAA additional assistance, you'll see that as that 175,000. Are there any questions? You'll have an opportunity in 2 more weeks to ask more questions then too, but and for the most part, most of these numbers are not going to change, but I will put those accurate student counts in there. I like to make sure it's whatever as of that time period when I need to turn things in for the packet, but then it's accurate as of that time.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Colleen.
All right, and we move on to our last item, which is our board development reading. So hopefully everybody was able to catch up. So I know that we had part 2 assigned. There wasn't any particular questions, but there was a lot of talk in this part about the goals, guardrails, what our role as a board member versus what Dr. Robert's role as a superintendent is in regards to these goals. Any comments that you all want to share? Any surprises? Anything that maybe reassurances that you felt while you were reading this part of the book?
Still liking the book. One thing that, and maybe Dr. Robert can jog my memory, part of the book talked about self-evaluations for board members. And I feel like we've done that in the past, and but my memory could be wrong. I don't recall having done that recently, and maybe Dr. Robert, you can give us a little bit. I love that idea, by the way, of like, they say once per quarter, stop what you're doing, take the time to self-evaluate and to determine where the board can improve and how to pivot. I love that, but maybe if Dr. Robert, you recall, so a bit of history on that self-evaluation, because I can't remember doing that recent times.
Yeah, it's a very interesting. This is year 9 for me, and so that annual, and it's in policy. That the board is supposed to evaluate itself. This book is calling for once a quarter. That's a lot. The policy expectation is once a year, and when in going to ASBA conferences, they have tools that they recommend for, and that you can either adopt the tool or you can call them out, for their services and contract with them to lead the governing board through. A lot of times, it's been different board presidents' prerogative to use different measures, right? So we have not adopted. You have not adopted as a board. When I say you, I'm not pointing to you, I'm speaking about board members have not adopted a particular instrument that is going to be the governing board's evaluation instrument. My first couple years, we did use we used ASBA and had someone come out and work with the board and go through their instrument that they used. Now it's public. Back then it wasn't. got someone to come in and do that work with you. With other board presidency terms, they've either known certain individuals that they wanted to come in and work with the board. So really, it is the board's prerogative in determining what that evaluation. If this board is interested in adopting a particular tool, we can do that. I think it would be of far great, we don't do that with evaluating individuals, change the tool up every single year. So I think it would do the board good in terms of being able to chart progress and see growth by adopting a tool. And so maybe that's some work that we can do within the next year, is exploring tools that are out there and adopting a singular one for a certain amount of time, like choose something that we've been using our teaching and learning rubric now for 11, or no, longer than that, 15 years. And that tool has gotten even better and stronger over years, and we've expanded it now to include our administrators that we're using, through the instrument, through NIET. They don't have something for governing boards yet, but there are different organizations that offer. So that's a long-winded answer.
I'd love to look into that. I know we have a lot going on, especially with strategic planning, but I think I like the recommendation from the book and would love to look into that.
Other comments?
Just one. On page 146, it talks about listening. Board members always need to take a moment to be generous in their listening and give people the experience of being heard. I'll speak for myself when I say that as a board member, I always welcome the community to reach out to us. And this is something that we talked about in the last meeting. But there are so many ways to get a hold of us. We all have Osborne email addresses. The public is always welcome to come and make public comment. And then I think most of us have a social media account assigned to our governing board work. So please take that as an invitation. We love to hear from our community members. We love to hear from our parents and our families. So please don't be shy if you have an issue and you would like to be heard.
I just want to say I really like kind of the focus of the book of the outcome of it, because that's really the whole point that we're here, is to make sure that we get our kids through school, they're productive citizens, they're educated, and really focusing on the outcomes on there. Because going to ASBA conferences, a lot of times they just focus on, well, the board's job is to approve the budget and to hire and fire the superintendent. And that's about all they focus on. And so you could go through that and approve all the budget you want and not actually talk about the outcomes, which is the real reason that we're here. So I really like that focus of it.
I'll say this is my first meeting reading the book and just picking it up. And within the first chapter, I was so inspired that this is the book that you all chose to read, and just so impressed. I mean, the thesis of the book is that school systems exist for one reason, which is to improve student outcomes. It's not about the adult inputs. It's about what we are actually producing as a district and aligning goals to do that. So I am really excited about that work ahead, and I'm just really, however we can accelerate that to get into that mode, I think is going to be really, really good for the district.
The chapter about guardrails was great. I like the analogy with the Uber driver in the beginning, like I want to get here, and there's construction, just don't go that way. But you're not telling them, I want you to make a right here, a left here, a right here, a left here. There's a goal, and then there's a guardrail of, and not doing this. And that's really important in the work that we do. And they go into some separation of duties, board work versus superintendent. And when they say superintendent, that extends to staff. It's not about this board superintendent. The work that happens in the district is not me going out and doing all of that work, right? The book chooses to speak about it as a superintendent, but the idea of guardrails really being a big part of this, that gives the freedom to the hired professionals that you've decided to hire through board action, and then empowering them. Here are the goals on where we want to get here. Here are some guardrails, but choose the path and report, and we work through that together. So I think that's an important work as we move forward and work through the strategic planning and get these goals. It'll be really important to come back at that time and talk about those guardrails.
Yeah, I think that, part of the work is that why we chose the book is because we are in this strategic planning phase of just the years, and so wanting to make sure that the goals that we do choose are smart goals like they were outlined, because we really want, I mean, it's drastic to see, right, the numbers in Arizona, literacy and math, and so we want to make sure that we're seeing our students, those numbers go up. And one of my favorite phrases in the book is the student outcomes don't change until adult behaviors change. And I do consider myself or us as a district really lucky that I can say that all of the school board members care about the student outcomes and want to see those changes. And I'm really excited to listen more to our community. Unfortunately, I will not be able to be there tomorrow, but to have more of those listening sessions where we can really hear from everyone, right? Students, parents, staff, as well as community members who don't send their kids to our schools, because we want to understand why and how we can improve, and what goals we can have set in place to ensure that we are the amazing school district that we are.
And that's just another good opportunity to reiterate the opportunity for a community to come out and join us tomorrow if you're able to. But if you're not, that's okay, because there are going to be multiple points throughout the year and different media through which to do it, whether it's a big forum like the Community Vision Night, whether there are surveys that are going out to you, or smaller focus groups that we're going to be having in the late winter / early spring. So lots of opportunities for giving input.
Yeah, definitely. And reiterate what Clerk Ford said is we're all available. I know in our last Osborne Reporter, I wrote in my section, please feel free to reach out. Like, I'm always happy to have coffee or a phone conversation. I really want to listen to our community to know what you all need and what you all see as gaps, so that way we can make sure we're doing the work that, we're volunteering our time up here, but it's because we care. All right, any other comments?
I'll just make one more comment. I was really inspired by the section that talked about the time that we spend at board meetings. The recommendation in the book was 50% of the board meeting should be focused on student outcomes. I think we're pretty far off from that right now, and just something for us to consider in the short term. How do we, if we agree that we want to align to that goal, and how do we build our agenda around student outcomes specifically?
Not just build the agenda, but also communicate how the agenda is doing so. Because, even such a thing as Ms. McCabe's presentation about the budget, that actually is very student outcomes focused, because it's how we're getting the resources to make that happen. So it's not necessarily just about pencil paper communication, but the things that we're doing to make that possible. So making those links, yes, we definitely want to be talking about assessments and about teaching and learning and those things, but that also happens through business.
Yeah, and I will say even the transportation presentation too, right? I know one of the goals, even though it's not set, is the attendance goals, right? And so we know that if the student's not in school, they're not learning. And so yeah, I think we need to do a better job as a board, just aligning them so that it's clear to all of us how everything relates to student outcomes. All right. Well, thank you all so much for that. I think, how much do we have left of the book? Guess we can do step 3. That way, yeah, step 3. It's not too long. So we'll read step 3 for the next board meeting, so the December board meeting. And now we'll move on to any future agenda items. So we'll start with you, Board Member Blink.
I'm really excited again to meet with Abby tomorrow to talk about some of the student performance and assessment. I think as we get more towards our goal setting, I'll probably have some more then.
All right, thank you so much. Board Member Thompson?
None at this time.
Board Member Hermes?
Not at this time for me either.
Clerk Ford?
None for me, thank you.
And none for me. So with that, our meeting is adjourned, 7:06 p.m. Thank you all for being here.